So a new statement, speaking of that, from the family of Corey Comparatori, who is this man who was shot and killed at the former president's rally. And they say this, quote, "The hatred for one man took the life of the one man we loved the most. He was a hero that shielded his daughters. His wife and girls just lived through the most unthinkable and unimaginable. He had just turned 50 and had so much life left to experience. What a deep tragedy this is for the country, for the people of Pennsylvania, and most of all, for this family." Our thoughts are with them today. So Dr. Jim Swetland attempted CPR on Corey. He was attending the rally with his wife, Lois, and they join me now. Dr. And Lois, thank you very much for being here. I mean, this is just absolutely heartbreaking. This man who lost his life was not the target, as far as we know or have any reason to believe, of all of this. Tell us a little bit about what played out where you were, Dr. Sweetland.
The two of us went to the rally with another couple, and where I was sitting was up in the bleachers. Lois, my wife, was sitting down with her friend in the seats. And we were waiting, and actually, prior, about an hour before Trump came out, my wife telephoned me and said, "There's a lady down in the stands underneath you that needs your help. I'm an emergency department physician." I said, "Really?" She goes, "You didn't notice that?" So I went down, and there's a lady that was suffering from some heat exhaustion that I got down on the bench, watered the bench for her, got her water on her, and the folks around her gave them umbrellas and fanned her. So, and there was a lot of water that was provided by the Trump staff at the rally, as much water as you could possibly want. So that was over with. Went back up, and Trump came out, and I was where I was sitting or standing was underneath the jumbotron on the right side of the stage as you're facing the stage. Um, Trump turned to look at us and point at this graphic that he had that showed the increase in the number of illegal immigrants. And as he was pointing to it, he looked like he was looking right at us. One of our friends, the friends I was with, said, "Gee, he's looking right at us. Take a picture." Then heard three shots, pop, pop, pop. Sounded like firecrackers to me. Sounded like a weapon to my wife. And we all turned towards the back of the stage, towards the side where there are trees across a field. And then as I was doing so, there were four more pops, pop, 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 that were shot. I turned, and President Trump was already under a pyramid of humanity. So the Secret Service was right on him right away. I heard a woman cry out from the bleachers down below me and to my right on down, saying, "He's been shot. He's down." And that's when I went to assist him. And being an emergency department physician, I just went into muscle memory. I just went down there to help him. When I got to him, I said what doctors usually say is, "I'm a doctor. I'm here to help." And people looked at me like, "Yeah, that's for sure, right." And I said, "No, I'm an emergency department physician. We need to get this man up onto a bench." He was jammed between two benches. And the two people that were hunkered down, because everybody was down at this point, looked up at me and got this fellow up, and we got him up on the bench, and I performed CPR, gave him chest compressions as well as breathed for him for about 2 minutes. And at that point, I was tapped on the shoulder by one of the two largest Pennsylvania state troopers I've ever seen. And they said, "We got it from here." They picked him up like a rag doll and took him and put him on a stretcher, and off he went. When I was doing that, his family, I assumed his wife was there, and my condolences go to her. Yes. And a daughter was there, and the look on their faces, I wish I could take back that day for them, that they still have their father. Certainly, he was rushed off in a very fast manner and got the best treatment he could, I believe. but still, he had a bullet wound to his head. There's lots of blood on the bleachers, as well as some brain matter. It was quite a scene, and my prayers and thoughts go with him.
It is so heartbreaking, and obviously, it appears obvious that this bullet was intended to go right at former President Trump, and one did graze his ear. As someone who has taken care of people in these kinds of situations, how close was former President Trump? And how much of a turn would have made this an even more horrible story, not only for this man whose age you came to, but also for the former president, Doctor?
A half an inch. The bullet entered above his right ear, the victim, Corey.
No, she's talking about President Trump.
Oh, but a half an inch, had he turned or not turned at that time to look back, I believe he would have been shot in the head, similar to the way Corey was injured.
Yeah. Were you aware, and Lois, maybe you want to answer this, when I look at the video, which we've all done many times and we will do many, many more times, the people on the upper left side, as you're looking at it on the video, immediately turn and look across. Were you aware of where the shooting was coming from? Did you have a sense of where it was coming from?
Absolutely. Actually, in my prior life, I've been widowed twice. So I understand what this wife and two daughters will never have their father to walk them down the aisle like mine didn't. But I hunted, and I knew it was a long gun of some sort. And I knew exactly where the bullets or the shots came from because I could hear it. And everybody, we all turned around to the point where there were women down us. We were screaming, "Let's go get him." I mean, we wanted to get this guy and kill him. I mean, it was just, it's not funny, but that was our reaction. Everybody was so upset. One girl in front of me she just lost control. She just sobbed and sobbed. She was so traumatized. It was so sorry. I felt so bad for her. Yeah. But yeah, we knew exactly where it came from, and it came from where the description of that building was. And quite
Doctor,
honestly,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I just want to ask about former President Trump's reaction, Doctor. Wanting to stand up, and what do you think is happening in someone when they have been grazed by a bullet at that point, and the reaction that you saw? No doubt, there's a lot of adrenaline that is racing through your body at that point.
When at the scene, I was attending to the fallen firemen, and when I turned, President Trump was already ushered off the stage. First thing I asked when I turned around, I believe the officer was, "Is Trump okay?" And he said, "Well, there's blood on his cheek." I said, "Was he able to walk off the stage?" And he was. So I was reassured that he was able to ambulate this on his own. But when you have adrenaline like that, that's a tough son of a gun. To stand up and go fight it says a lot about the fortitude of this guy. And the crowd went crazy. They were cheering at that moment. I didn't know what it was. My back was to them. I was attending to the firemen, and the crowd went nuts. And it was like, we are here for you, and you definitely are here for us. Thank you for being such a good warrior for us.
It's an incredible reaction. You would expect everyone to just start running away, and it's not what happened. People stood up and also pumped their fists and stood their ground. I thought it was remarkable to watch. And, there's just some small grace in the fact that you were able to attend to this fireman and in his final moments. And we wish so much that his situation had turned out very, very differently. Grateful for you, Doctor and Lois. Thank you so much for being here. And our hearts go out to Corey Comparatori, who just celebrated his 50th birthday, and as his family said, should have had many more years ahead if it weren't for this senseless loss of his life. Doctor and Lois, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you. Our thoughts and prayers are with Corey and his family.
Absolutely. The whole nation feels the same way.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.